Hello, buddy. This is Purge, and welcome to the TI4 Qualifiers SEA edition. My name is actually Sunspan, joined by Cinderin, and today we have an excellent match. Actually, the top-seeded Arrow is going to be going against MiTH, which we've been casting left, right, and center. Last game, Lakels and company absolutely destroyed Mineski, so this might be a very good game, actually, Cinder.
Yeah, Arrow are, I believe, are they 6 or seven?
Seven.
Are they 6 or
Well, they were
7
6
and
and
0?
0, and then they played Zephyr, so we can assume
That's 7 and 0. That's
7?
right. They did lose. They did win that game. So
Okay.
Arrow are 7-0. That means they're guaranteed top 2.
Yes.
But it is technically possible for, I believe, only Orange actually. And
Orange
maybe MVP Phoenix. MVP Phoenix are 4 and 2, I believe. I think they beat Scythe, which was a big upset. But if Arrow win this game, they're guaranteed first place. No one can touch them. They're going to be 8-0. Then they could end on 8-1. Every other team has 2 or more losses already. So they're looking very, very good so far. MiTH were really strong in the last game we cast against Mineski.
Yes, indeed.
If they play as well as they did in that game, I think this is going to be perhaps the best game of today.
Yep, agreed. Let's get into the draft. Shall we, friends? Right off the bat, why are you laughing at me, Cinderella?
Shall we, friends?
Why? Friends! We have Ember Spirit and Centaur Band, along with Doom and Lycan. Invoker first pick for MiTH, followed by Treant Protector and Batrider. So I would be shocked if Shadow Demon is not snatched up here by MiTH. They're going to do just that. Actually, not only is it great against Batrider, but if he goes Quas Exhort, sets up a very easy Sunstrike, along with the Soul Catcher doing amplified damage. It's pretty dirty setup, so far I like MiTH lineup a lot.
Invoker is one of those heroes that we saw in the Americas qualifier. Not really. We saw it banned in the first part of the tournament, kind of, and in the playoffs, teams were just ignoring it almost. It got picked like once and lost. I feel like that hero was just underrated in that qualifier.
At the time we saw it was a Quas Wex, too.
Yes.
Right.
But in the Asia qualifier, it's been a lot more picked. I think a team like MiTH could definitely use that played mid by Abba. It's not a Lakels hero. I would be very, very surprised to see him playing that in the safe lane. As for Arrow, they get a very standard setup these days. Treant into Batrider. Great initiation power, great laning potential that you get out of the Treant. And we've started seeing, there's been like a change over the last few, I don't know, weeks, or if we should say like 2 months, where Treant is played way more aggressively than he used to be. He used to be like just that stand back, living armor your solo lanes and make them win, into starting with boots and getting Leech Seed on level 1 and looking for first bloods.
Yeah. Agreed. I thought you were going to continue, but either way. Wraith King, which we saw last game for Lakels, actually, so they're going to ban it themselves. And I'm surprised by the Doom ban because they had absolutely no trouble against that Doom, but perhaps not wanting to go against
Arrow were really good with Doom last night.
Oh, that's true. That was them, wasn't it? Okay,
yeah.
So
that was Lance
MiTH has been watching these games, apparently, and Arrow's going to finish it off with Dazzle, Slark bans for the second phase, and they're going to pick up a Brewmaster.
They've got great team fight. Brewmaster, however, against Invoker is a little bit risky because he is one of the heroes you want to jump in with, you want to clap split. If Invoker is quick on a Tornado EMP, you could run out of mana, and then you can't even use either ability.
Cold Snap.
Cold Snap is great against Brewmaster too if you have rapid sources of damage so that he gets stunned consistently instead of getting the split off. But overall, I think Arrow's plan with this game is to take solid team fights where they open with Bat and then Brewmaster follows through. It's a great way of looking at it. I think I have kind of the same idea with Brewmaster and Sand King. I think Brewmaster is a better opener than Sand King is, but a really good way to play both of these heroes is to have someone start the fight that is not you, so that you get the enemies to group up a bit to try to help the target that Batrider lassos, for example. Then you can get your clap split. If you're Sand King, obviously Epicenter Burrow Strike. So, good idea so far for Arrow. Brewmaster is one of the heroes that has been getting a lot more play, both in Americas and in SEA over the last few weeks.
Does this mean Invoker should be getting an Orchid, perhaps? Or pick up another hero that could actually... You could even side lane a Puck or something like that. Getting quick Waning Rift is pretty huge against the Brewmaster, who never wants to go BKB, although we've, I guess, seen it technically speaking. But they have quite a... being Radiant, they can pick pretty much anybody, so it doesn't have to necessarily be an exceptional offlaner.
There are definitely some choices here. They're gonna get Nyx first, so he seems to me just to be a counter pick for Batrider.
Spike Carapace into the Firefly is so good.
It is incredibly good. And of course, the follow-through of that, it's not only that, but if Carapace is like level 2 or higher, you set up for a follow-up Impale as well. Of course, Impale, since it's not targeted anymore, will be hard to hit, especially in a hero like Batrider who can fly over terrain. He actually has very many escape routes most of the time. But the Carapace sets up the Impale very easily. You have great follow-up with Invoker and Shadow Demon, and I think this pick from MiTH was really, really good. The main concern I have is how good Treant might end up being here, because as far as damage over time goes, MiTH doesn't really have anything to remove Treant armor.
That's true. What are some options here, then, for... we haven't seen Venomancer very much lately, but it doesn't really fit into the lineup very
I think
very
Lakels
well.
could play Gyro, honestly. I think
Okay.
he's the way MiTH plays, I think Gyrocopter would make sense, and I'm honestly surprised that it just completely disappeared. It's not that it's not getting picked so much anymore, it's just out of the game in competitive Dota 2, and I still think that hero is pretty good. And in games like this, sure, Lasso can be worrying, but you do have Shadow Demon, and if you're getting into team fights against Brewmaster, Flak Cannon is going to be great. You've got excellent AoE damage and control. They're going to get it.
What do you think about Nyx versus Batrider in off-lane 1v1 situation, if it ends up being that one?
It's okay. Mana burn, of course, is decent because Batrider gets somewhat good intel, and loving this pick out of Arrow. Another hero that just disappeared. Juggernaut with the Healing Ward is an excellent pushing mid-game kind of carry. Works very well together with Brewmaster. This, for me, just seems like an Arrow gaming team that's very confident, wants to go in and wants to try to break the base at like 25 minutes. Juggernaut and Brewmaster are kind of peak at the same time, if you will.
That's true.
At that stage in MiTH.
So that's surprising. They're going up against a big-time mid-game lineup, and then they pick Morphling.
It's arguably Lakels' best hero, though. So maybe they feel like if they play it safe, if they manage to not get too crushed in team fights, then Lakels can carry them through with the Morphling in the later stages of the game. Of course, we've talked about how good Shadow Demon is against Morphling. He is, of course, also good with Morphling. Then you make some very devastating illusions. And arguably the only thing that Morphling has to be very careful with in this game is the Batrider. There's nothing else that counters him. There's no stun, no silence from anyone. So a clutch disruption here will give Lakels perhaps the game of his life, but he needs to get online first, and that's where Arrow Gaming's lineup is really scary.
Yeah. Ancient Apparition can be the last ban for MiTH, and Tidehunter for Arrow, so they're thinking that perhaps MiTH needs an offlaner, which I still think Nyx is pretty good at.
And here we go.
For the at least for the Radiant. So they're gonna go for Enchantress. So all of a sudden they have a really good push team. I mean, all you really need is just the heals, and I'm kind of surprised that MiTH bans Ancient Apparition themselves when that actually would have been amazing this game against all this heal.
It's good against Morphling, though. Maybe they were worried about that, and since Arrow are running an early game-oriented lineup, then perhaps the Chilling Touch would have been worrying. I still don't. I would agree with you here. I don't think the AA would have been that good for Arrow, to be honest. And
do you think they go for offlaner here, or a second support in the tri-lane? Or even a jungler?
I don't think this is the worst game for Nyx to be played in the offlane, especially because they're Radiant. So, personally, I would put the Nyx in a solo role here, so he can get online early with the Vendetta, and then you put a support who is good at dealing with push. Some sort of wave clear. You could look towards, I don't know, a Shadow Shaman with Ethershock, which is very greedy, to be honest, together with Shadow Demon, so I would not recommend that.
I mean, they're going to be against a double. He's going to be against a double melee tri-lane.
Yeah.
With Enchantress coming from the jungle, so it'll be actually pretty difficult to kill Nyx.
I know that no one picks Windranger right now, but I think that would be a really good pick. Playing it, I do not agree with that one though, but we'll see. So the reason I think Enigma is kind of worrying here is Arrow are playing a very early game-oriented lineup. And now that they see a greedy jungler coming out from MiTH, they could challenge the Enigma in the jungle with the Enchantress. They can run an aggressive tri-lane, or just an aggressive dual lane, to be honest, with Enchantress Juggernaut, and then put the train in another lane.
But they want to be greedy too,
and put pressure.
Cinderwin.
Yeah, but...
I mean, their team fight isn't the greatest. Invoker obviously has everything you need to set up with an Enigma ult, but after that, it's just like, meh.
If they do land their combo, they're going to just flat out wipe Arrow. But I think that's very hard.
Right.
That's kind of the issue here. And Enigma, sure, if he gets to jungle, he will get a fast mech, which will be great at team fighting early on against Arrow, but can backfire really, really heavily if they lose their own jungle early on to the Enchantress. Doesn't really have any comeback mechanism. And the reason I was thinking Windranger could have been a good choice here for MiTH is that they're playing against a very short-range lineup. Batrider, Juggernaut, Treant, Brewmaster, all 4 of those heroes are melee or short range. So it makes it pretty easy to land shackle shots when the enemy team is stacking up. They would have had some wave clear with power shot against the pushing power arrows seem to be playing. And of course, finally, Wind Ranger in general is pretty decent against a lineup that doesn't have too many controlling abilities. Brewmaster ult is the main worrying thing, but against Juggernaut, she can generally outrun him with Wind Run. Against Treant, sure he leech seeds you, but maybe you can negate that a little bit. And against Enchantress, you
I actually do feel Windrunner is very Wind Ranger, whatever God's name is these days. She's really underrated, especially with the changes that are being made. She can be played. She's in a lot of ways. She's a lot like Mirana. I feel like, even though you almost never see her in the carry role, she has potential to carry. I feel like.
Yeah, I would agree.
But with that said, let's go over the actual lineups here. So in all likelihood, the off lane we have Kites playing on the Nyx Assassin. He has this Dagon set, so hopefully he ends up going Dagon so it lights up. We have Enigma, who will probably be in the jungle. Boom Bell is playing that. Lakel's on his Morphling, as you talked about. We have Abba on the Dota Cinema Invoker set. Always like to see that. Always have to mention it. And
sell out, boys.
last but not least, the Shadow Demon. Is that his 4 arms? Is that the set TNK?
What the hell? Yeah, that looks really sick.
I didn't even know he had sets. That's 6 arms.
The Summoned Lord.
He looks pretty beastly.
Yeah, that's pretty legit.
It almost makes him look like he doesn't have 500 health. So
maybe
squishy.
that's the plan of it. Oh, and for Arrow, we have Johnny playing as the Treant Protector. It will be Lance, who played an amazing Doom last night, will be playing as the Juggernaut. We've got Mozun on Enchantress. DDZ, their mid player, will be playing as the Brewmaster, and that leaves the off lane for, damn it, how was that pronounced again?
Good luck.
Xiangzai, I think, or something along those lines.
Zhang Zai.
Playing as the Bat Rider.
Sure. So mid lane, Invoker versus Brewmaster. I haven't seen this matchup too often, especially since Brewmaster's picked up. Invoker's kind of, I'm not going to say he's fallen off, but from the games that we've been casting, he kind of has fallen off. What do you feel like, who has the advantage in this? I mean, obviously Brewmaster, not the greatest against range, just because he's melee, but he does have that Drunken Brawler, which is ridiculous.
You mean Drunken Haze or
Haze?
Brawler is good
well,
too,
both,
though.
actually. Yeah.
But the Haze is very nice against Invoker. This ability is mainly good against mid heroes who can only farm with their right-click attacks because you have a very high miss chance. So far, Abba has been pretty lucky, but can expect DDZ to get quite a few extra last hits and denies because Invoker just flat-out misses his attacks. He doesn't have a farming mechanism like, let's say, something like Ether Shock or even the Thunderclap from Brewmaster himself. No wave clearing like that. I would love to see DDZ leveling up the Drunken Haze. I know this is something that almost never happens, but for a short period of time in the Western scene, that's like 1.5 years ago or something, Brewmaster was the counterpick to TA in mid. And he would max out Haze, and he would just throw it on the TA the whole time, and she couldn't farm. I feel like Invoker is kind of the same thing if he plays Exhort. Sure, you can get the Forge Spirit, but that's just not enough. And he's even going to be fighting against this Satyr creep from Mozun, so not the easiest lane for him.
Yeah, how annoying. Well, once he gets his Forge Spirits up, the mischance becomes less important, I guess, as long as you can micro them correctly. Bat Rider right now hasn't had 1 point in experience yet in this bottom lane. And he really needs to hit level 2 if he wants to transition into the jungle, so we'll see if he can do so. Meanwhile, on the other side, Nyx, level 3, so off lane in a MiTH Trust advantage so far. And actually, Bat Rider's going to find the Enigma. Has 1 level of Malefice. Is this going to be a denied rune? Denied rune? Nope. Not going to happen. So Brewmaster's going to get that.
I don't think Shadow Demon can actually do that. He's got 500 range.
That's true.
You could deny that rune from a 600 range hero like Rubik, but...
Wait, are you positive about that? I feel like I've seen Lesh. Lesh has low range, right?
Like isn't he also 600, I think? Oh, I could be wrong.
Maybe.
Jiang Tsai will get disrupted here. Morphling is there. This could be first blood with the Sunstrike. Excellent combination from MiTH Trust. Easy kill. And that was a level 1 Sunstrike. That's only going to get worse from here on out.
Yep.
So
I mean, it's one of the easiest combos to take part in. Who actually got the credit for that kill? It was Shadow Demon. So, good job from Invoker. Do you get, you don't get any assist there if you don't get the kill, I believe.
He gets the assist, but he doesn't get experience.
Alright, that's what I mean, the experience, yeah. Okay. So it's kind of important for him to actually get the last hit, which, again, like you said, it was only level 1 Sunstrike, so in the future, probably will be getting that kill, setting up correctly. But as we talked about, Bat Rider, still not level 2. Oh, God, that's rough. He's going to be using his sticky napalm upon the creeps. And level 4 Nyx in top lanes.
Radiant off lane.
Exactly.
want to point out, a lot of people have been impressed by DDZ's play, and I think for me in this tournament, as far as just raw solo skill goes, he might be the best player right now. His performances in mid lane have been absolutely stellar.
Speaking of mid lane,
and he is out farming the
smoke
Invoker
gank
quite
attempt
heavily.
here. Oh, they're not going to catch up. The
No.
disruption. Oh, almost got it off, but not quite in range.
Don't think they could have killed him anyway, though.
They have the Sunstrike.
He has a guaranteed first attack dodge because of Drunken Brawler. He can haze the Invoker and just run. And has the passive Brawler bonus as well, which is at 10%, so might have dodged an attack or two
Well,
there as well.
you have level 2 Malefice, so it's,
Mm,
and he's melee. I don't know. It would have been. It's
Kinda
possible
close.
he would have gotten away, but yeah, it would have been close.
see if they try this here. TNK with the Invis rune now,
This is a
so
little bit better
DDZ has no way of knowing that this rune is there. It was in the bottom lane.
I feel like they
in the
do
bottom
need a
river.
third person. It looks like
Enigma's
Enigma
gonna come
will be
in.
coming as well. Once it gets a little bit closer. Actually, the clap is used. Cold snap. Don't even need to disrupt yet. He can't even attack. Can't even put his haze on anybody. There you see the living armor place. Disruption. Can he get the soul catcher on the correct creep? Not even going to attempt
Correct creep.
Or
The
the-
Brewmaster creep.
Whatever. Whatever, Cinderin. Okay.
You really don't have high expectations for DDZ. He's like a creep to you. Juggernaut will be getting the tower top, so this is something that Nyx obviously is really terrible at dealing with. Maybe you have a level 2 Impale. That is not going to stop a tier 1 push with Healing Ward level 2 and Enchantress creeps. So, good start for Arrow in terms of taking the top tier 1. The Brewmaster dodged the gank, and he's still heavily out farming the Invoker. DDZ is just a really standout player so far in this
5-minute MiTH on Morphine, so he's gonna get farmed pretty much. A lot of experience gonna be coming his way as well. This tier 2 tower now taking some pressure from Arrow, and like you said, not the greatest counter push with the Nyx assassin, but of course he is getting the levels, and I think that's just more important at this point. Brewmaster apparently popped his ultimate, and he's gonna find Enigma. Unfortunately, can't bring it back down. Has no mana to speak of, so just needs to run away.
I'm a little surprised he tries to go for an Invoker one-on-one there. The chance of that working out is pretty much non-existent. He can't kill Invoker. Didn't even
Has
look
he
like it
seen
was
this guy?
close.
This guy's set. Obviously, he takes his hero very seriously.
You're terrible.
But Juggernaut, we haven't seen Blade Fury come into effect yet this game, but Nyx Assassin is the same level. They have the exact same experience right now, so that's a telling tale. I
No,
feel
there's
like.
an 8 experience difference, Suns
Oh
fan.
boy. Oh god, who's ahead? I'm not actually sick. Apparently, people just want to hear it, so I'm giving the people what they want. Like I keep Google.dk. Just do .com like a normal person.
What the hell is going on? Okay, it's up.
Internet's up. Let's try reconnecting.
Yeah, I'm in.
Hey,
Okay, guys.
Look at that set. What is this set you see? Cinderin.
It's Evoker. Okay, I think the stream should be back up again. We had a little bit of a disconnection.
Yes.
Sorry about that, guys. Not exactly sure what is causing it. But we're back into the game. Doesn't look like we missed anything too significant. The towers are still 1-0. Morphling has got more farm. The rich get richer. Brewmaster 40 CS is still out farming the Invoker by quite a bit, who is on 30. But overall, in terms of net worth, pretty much a 0 gold game, but a 3,000 experience lead for MiTH because of that Enigma jungle. So I was worried about how that was going to turn out for them. I thought it was a too greedy pick. But Arrow hasn't really made anything happen bar that tier 1 tower kill in 8 minutes with the Enchantress. Hasn't even tried a rotation gank, hasn't tried to counter the Enigma at all.
The greed has worked
So
out.
the greedy pick for MiTH is actually really, really worth it right
And
now.
since I disconnected, the DC set has changed colors to the standard version. I'm not exactly sure how that's possible, but that's pretty awesome. Wow, Invoker picks up a MiTH, so getting very, very greedy. DDZ, I should say, on the Brewmaster has the Invis rune. He's going to find the Shadow Demon, probably will start with the Thunderclap, and then ult right away before Shadow Demon can react.
He's a great hero to have against Enigma as well, by the way.
He's going to attempt to dive. Why is it? Enigma Black Hole goes through, or it hits the pandas.
It does, but as long as the Storm Panda is out of sight, he can easily tornado.
That's true.
The Earth Panda can throw the boulder
So
toss.
BKB is pretty much a must here for the Enigma.
Yes,
And
I
he's
think
gonna
that would be
better
good.
of this because they didn't. I mean, this is really good awareness for MiTH Trust.
It was somewhat obvious as well. I'm not sure if they have.
Just give them
they
credit.
They have this
Cinderin.
rune ward here, so I don't know if they're in this spawn bottom or top, but yeah, playing it very safe here. DDZ obviously leaving the lane for the first time kind of makes it look fishy. He is unsuccessful with his rotation, and the farming just continues. Nyx got level 6 now, by the way. Juggernaut, level 8. So he has been gaining quite a bit of experience since we checked the last time.
Right.
Has been left some solo time here. And Nyx needs to be a little bit careful, actually, because Juggernaut can solo him if he gets some sort of detection out, which he doesn't have yet.
So that he does have to be careful.
So not right now, but when that comes out. Oh, actually, never mind. He's going to go mid anyway.
This is a pretty big commitment.
And there's a pretty much protection sentry already in the middle of that mid lane, so.
No, that's true.
Very nice coverage here from Arrow.
So Nyx Assassin, although he got off to a great start, he's kind of been roaming around since 6, which I think is the right thing to do, but hasn't found anything as of yet. And Invoker, as we talked about right now, 45 and 12 CS versus the Panda, which is 15-10, so essentially even overall, which I think we can attribute a lot to that, a lot of the pressure that was put on Brewmaster, which, because I think Brewmaster should get more CS in the lane without, like, minus all the kills. Enchantress, among other members, are smoked for Arrow, so they're going to attempt to gank this poor Morphling, but they don't have the greatest lockdown, so the question is, does Batrider have a blink? He does. Okay, that's good enough lockdown for me, actually. The question is, do they have enough damage? The Omni Slash along with the Blade here, but there goes the Morphling just running away. Oh my god, the Morph is actually keeping him alive. Beautiful disruption, although Shadow Demon will fall. Is this going to save Lakel's? No! 2 kills in the way of Arrow, so a very successful gank, and they're going to transition this to a tier 1 tower.
There's no way in hell MiTH can defend this either. There's 5 heroes down there. Healing Ward is available. Morphling is dead for 25 seconds. He could technically buy back in TP, but the TPs are going to be chained, so they're going to be coming in one at a time and hold it. They will glyph and try to trade for mid. I think this is a great play coming out from MiTH. The Enigma and Invoker combined, when Invoker's playing Quasic Sword, who is he's by the way level 9, so he has the Forge Spirit duo up and running. Can split push very well. So overall, yes, Arrow do get 2 kills in a tower, but they get to pay the mid tier 1. That's pretty even. Tier 1 tower mid is very important, and DDZ, yeah, he did.
Sunstrike, not even need, although that might have been the kill, I'm not sure. But either way, he did have a Blink Dagger, by the way, Brewmaster. So some of these items coming out while we were disconnected, it looks like. And Mechanism. I picked up the mech. Was on the other team? I think Enigma. Is that Courier? Yeah. Yeah, so Mechanism picked up by Enigma. Do you think he goes for Blink next, or does he need to go BKB?
I can see this as a game where you could get Blink first, even though I think that's generally greedy. But
they're playing so greedy already, you know.
The BKB is not safeguarding him against Lasso, and that is possible to do for the Batrider here, but against Brewmaster the BKB is good, against Enchantress, like...
How easy is it lassoing somebody that's black holing with, what is it, 50 range? What's the range on Batrider? It's ridiculous.
I honestly don't think BKB... I don't know if it's worth it yet. I think he should get something else. He could get a Necro book even, and just try to mana drain the Brewmaster, try to push towers early on. I'm assuming Invoker at some point will be getting an EMP as well for more mana burn. Alternatively, he gets even a pipe, since Arrow are playing very heavy early game teamfight pushing style. And this is going to be one hell of a fight, I think.
Yeah, even with Medallion, this Roche is actually going very slowly. They have some sentries in place. Vendettas pop.
Oh my god,
they're going to
get
find
a really good black hole here perhaps,
DDZ,
but no!
Panda ult trying to go after the Malefice is there. Enigma trying to get a black hole is on 4 heroes. Somehow gets it off. DDZ doesn't get his ult off in time. Overgrowth to follow. Do they have enough damage? Lasso's trying to bring Nyx Assassin to the high ground. Soulcatcher applied to Tree Protector. Look how much damage Lakel's does to that Soulcatcher unit. And Juggernaut on the run has Omni Slash, but not able to use it. Meantime, Batrider did end up picking off that Nyx Assassin. Cold Snap, Sunstrike, trying to run away is the Batrider. There's the beautiful, beautiful Deafening Blast.
He's gonna live.
Isn't enough to live yet. Or to die, I should say. It's enough to live, is what I meant to say. And the Roshan can be taken by MiTH. Very well played.
Such a sick black hole. It's one thing that he catches as many targets as he does, but he caught them all on the edge like that. Oh, can't split. He keeps getting Cold Snap.
Cold Snap is so good against this freaking hero. Abba on the run from the Tree Protector. We're going to be watching DDZ. He has the Blink Dagger up. Of course, he can Thunderclap. Doesn't want to use his ult on just one unit, so he's probably just going to right-click to victory and does just that. Abba. Okay, he turns around just to get right-click from Johnny.
So who got the Aegis? Lakel's. So, okay, 2 kills for the Roche. But before that, they took a great team fight. They secured the last hit on Roche. They got the Aegis on the Morphling. Great play by MiTH Trust. That black hole was so sick, not just because of the number of heroes it caught, but how it caught them. Had like 3 heroes right on the outside of the black hole, and that's where we often see Enigmas overestimating the AoE a little bit and missing. This was just, I dare say, 2 or 3 of the heroes in that black hole were inside like 25 AoE of the perimeter of that. That was just a phenomenal play by Boombell. And absolutely a huge one to pull off outside the Roche pit as well. 5,000 golden experience lead now for MiTH Trust roughly based off of that. And we talked about how Arrow are kind of under pressure to peak at the 20-25 minute mark. I think MiTH Trust might have just bought the time they need to get
Yeah,
Lakel's.
they've done a very good job in extending this game for sure. I mean, we talked about Juggernaut. I don't think we've seen an Omni Slash yet. Of course, it is level 1, so not the best ult in the world. But DDZ, we've talked about Brewmaster's strengths and weaknesses, and his biggest weakness is getting off that ultimate, and the cold snap is so dirty against him. And even if they go for like an Orchid, that's just
Look
gonna
at
add
Johnny's
injury.
positioning as well here.
Invoker, I'm surprised he's even invisible.
Legit.
They're gonna try to damage this tier 1 tower in mid. Invoker working on the Necronomicon that you were alluding to earlier. And not sure if he can take this. I think MiTH Trust definitely wants to fight here.
Yeah, Morphling is still in the bottom lane. TP on cooldown for another 10 seconds, so I think they want to try to wait for that. There is no replicate yet on the field. We're going to see Batrider going in.
Oh, self-disruption, and there you see Spike Carapace. So good against Batrider, who's getting decimated before he can even use anything. Cold Snap, everything in between being used. Forge Spirits are going to finish him off along with the Demonic Purge. It's going to cost Shadow Demon his life, but I think they'll take that trade any day of the week. And now I believe Morphling is here with his newly picked up Lincoln Sphere. Hello, Arrow. You better run away. DDZ's ultimate is now down. Very susceptible to getting killed if they can catch him.
If they stay for this tower, that's going to be a big mistake. And making the right call, backing out here. Great play by the Shadow Demon with such a fast self-disruption there and the fallout from Nyx. And a 1-for-1 trade, like you said. Enchantress just stole the blue Necronomicon, which is something to keep in mind. She can take that over with Enchant, the ability. Could play a role here when Invoker is getting the Necro 3 fairly early. He's getting close to that at the moment, actually. He's about 1,000 gold away from the finished Necronomicon 3. So Enchantress will be aiming to steal that. That's a huge pickup in any fight.
Does that mean you just need to build multiple?
Yeah, well,
overpower it.
They might do that. Or
It'd be funny to
just
watch
kill the Enchantress.
Yeah, well, Enchantress could also just go for Necro herself, which would be pretty hilarious. But that is definitely something to keep in mind. I did not notice that in that fight. Did it make any difference?
No, not this time, but it can.
Well, of course.
It is a quite significant takeover when you think about how much mana that item costs, gold, that item costs, and you steal the blue part of it. It is a significant turnaround in the fight. Of course, the true side is good against Nyx. Maybe will have an impact once, and against the Ghost Walk from Invoker actually. So the true side is decent. The mana burn I think is the bigger deal though. Getting that blue Necronomicon and putting it on the Morphling. Or taking the ranged one if it hasn't used its mana burn yet and putting that on the Morphling. Either breaking the Lincolns or draining significant mana.
Juggernaut, who again we haven't just talked about at all. Has Omni Slash, is that used at all? Have you seen it one time? It must have been used.
It's been on cooldown once at least, I think.
So.
But you're right. It's been really underwhelming so far. The Juggernaut
especially with
pick.
Necronomicon units, Forge Spirits. How good of an ulti can you really expect from Juggernaut this game? I mean, I guess it depends on positioning a whole lot. He has drums, and he's going for Aghanim Scepter, which obviously is really good. Gives them a lot of extra bounces. So perhaps thinking the same thing that I was just talking about, trying to counter that to some degree. Nyx Assassin, or I should say Shadow Demon, trying to find somebody. But alas, he will go top lane to support the Lakel's, who still has the Aegis, has 1,400 gold after the Lincoln Spear.
They can actually kill Juggernaut, combined these two heroes.
I think so.
Demonic Purge is very good against Blade Fury. It's usually the way Juggernaut gets out is that he Blade Furies and runs, or Blade Furies and TPs. He can still Blade Fury TP, but his move speed is reduced to nothing in the Blade Fury, down to the minimum 100 if he gets Demonic Purged. We actually saw that in the Roche Pit fight, where his mobility was severely reduced, so it is possible for the Morphling and Shadow Demon to combine up and kill him, but for now, Shadow Demon actually left the Morphling alone, and this is textbook MiTH Trust play. This is how they're gonna do if they can get away with it. Lakel's on one lane, the other heroes in the jungle, farming. Lakel's gets big, Lakel's gets strong, Lakel gets awesome, Lakel's wins game.
You should write a book about that.
Yeah, that was actually the first line of my sonnet.
Nyx Assassin now has a Blink Dagger level 9. Roshan will reclaim his Aegis in 30 seconds, so they're not going to be able to use this as they would probably have liked to. But of course, just getting the Roshan advantage is huge, especially when you're Radiant. Invoker continuing to build. Okay, he did finish the Necro 3. But like you said, the Enchantress, you gotta watch out for that for sure. Now, Enigma is what I'm more worried about. So he is going BKB. You said you didn't particularly like that. I still think it's okay.
It is okay.
Because lasso is still very difficult to get. If you have a black hole already up, it's
Actually,
very hard to position yourself.
Omni Slash can also stop the black hole. We forgot to mention that. That is an
That's
option.
on the first.
Only on the first hit,
and
but
even the range on that's not that great.
But that even goes through BKB too. So
Yeah.
they do have the counters, but they aren't the best counters and maybe not so reliable.
Nick is one of those heroes that can farm pretty well, so I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for a Linken's after the fact. So.
Could do that.
Actually, if he's gonna do that, I kind of prefer he gets the Linken's before the BKB, because BKB obviously loses its effectiveness over time. Lakel's able to get this tower, and this is the second time that he's forced 3 or 4 heroes from Arrow into his vicinity, and he just gets the hell out of there.
Okay, if Arrow does not start pushing, they've lost this game in 10 minutes. They cannot play late game against MiTH Trust lineup with the one they have. I know yesterday I underestimated the doom of Arrow, but this time I can be pretty much 100% confident in my prediction. There is nothing on Arrow that stands a chance against this lineup.
I mean, Juggernaut is probably the hardest carry they have. It's just not that hard. It's more of a mid-game transition. Brewmaster falls off hugely. He's not even that close to Aghanim Scepter, about 2k away still. Juggernaut,
Lance has his now, though.
Yeah, Juggernaut's got his very shortly coming on the courier. And
that's
I think that's
time.
what I think that's what they've been waiting for.
The longer they wait, the more they lose. The graphs are telling a pretty clear story here. Every single minute, MiTH Trust will just be gaining and gaining and gaining. So, if you're Arrow now, you gather up, you have the level 2 split on Brewmaster, you have the level 2 Omni Slash Ags upgraded, and Enchantress and Batrider are still decent at this time in the game, but they're gonna get weaker over time, so...
Is this a shotgun or is this butterfly?
I think this is a shotgun for Morphin. Because he can basically... He can choose... He should be killing Enchantress every fight, I think. So she doesn't steal the Necronomicon. She has Untouchable, which is, of course, a pain in the ass to play against as a physical damage carry. But E-Blade just completely shuts that hero down. She has nothing against it.
You can get it in a couple hundred gold here.
So scary. Lakel's is going to be wrecking.
Yeah,
I am so
very
sure of it.
fast.
Again, classic Lakel's play. Push out to tier 2 tower, replicate to bottom lane. He is a Morphling machine. This guy was amazing in TI1. That's a long time ago. And he was playing Morphling the exact same way. Morphling. MiTH Trust.
He was on MiTH Trust back then?
Yes.
He's been on them the entire time?
Yes.
That's
amazing.
Amazing.
It's the only Thai team that I can even think of has had decent success. There was another one for a short amount of time, but MiTH has always been like the front runner. And in case you didn't know, do you know what MiTH stands for actually?
No.
Made in Thailand.
Really?
Yes. So made in Thailand Trust. Unless if I remember incorrectly, but I'm pretty sure
Probably
it's made in Thailand. So it is the pride of Thailand as far as Dota 2 goes, and we're seeing why right now. It is the SEA qualifier. They're looking very strong to reach a top 4 position, and they're currently beating the team that is up 7-0 in the group stage. And it's not even a close game by any stretch, to be honest. So very, very impressive game coming out from MiTH Trust. The E-Blade is completed. Lakel's.
Oh my god, Juggernaut gets wrecked. DDZ. Nice Shadow Demon Disruption. Isn't able to get his ultimate off as of yet, but there it goes. Black hole, black hole. I don't think he's going to be able to use this before he drops to the deck, and he does that.
He lives!
He lives?
5 HP.
Okay, well, he's still not going to get it off either way. Morphin's going to continue pressure. Lakel's just, I'm sorry, the Panda just running away, but this is a dead Earth Panda. I'm not sure if there's any more surviving.
Oh, he got out, but
He
yeah,
got
okay.
out, but he's still going to die.
To what avail?
Soul Catcher. Good God. MiTH Trust is playing so well today. And keep in mind, of course, the Ethereal Blade, in theory, is good against Omni Slash, but since they changed Omni Slash to... Like, it doesn't cancel it like it used to. It'll continue to bounce, so if there's anything nearby, it'll still work fine. So it's not as hard of a counter as it used to be.
That is true.
But he didn't even get literally any spells off the Juggernaut.
No, he got stunned by something, and then he died. So, Morphling, with this amount of farm at a 23-minute mark, he's got 200 CS. This is... A lot of people will perhaps not know going into this tournament exactly how good of a farmer Lakel's is, but in my book, he is one of the best in the world. When he gets to play the game, he farms as well as the best, both Western and Chinese carries. On top 5?
Top whatever.
Top 5.
No, just tell. Is he top 5? Okay.
Yeah, I think I would say Lakel's. If it's just a farm game, top 5 for me. He is very, very good.
He's impressed so far for sure in this qualifier, dominating just about every single game. He has very wide variety of hero selection too. We saw the last game with Wraith King just completely dominating.
He's played Ember Spirit as well earlier.
Did we cast? We didn't cast that one.
One game.
Okay, well
that was one of the games they lost because the laning just went wrong for them.
And I know we've cast 4, so it was the 4th game. I'm not sure.
Can't remember.
But it was good.
Yeah.
At the very least. God, my laugh sounds so awful when I... Something like that. Nyx Assassin, level 10. It's kind of crazy to see that he's only level 10 considering how great of a start he got off to, but it's kind of how the
There
hero
hasn't
works
been that
sometimes.
many kills. It's more of a farm game. And that type of game, Nyx just doesn't level up too well.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. He's done his job. He hit a couple of key stuns. He hit a couple of key vendettas. He got experience in the off lane. At this point, this game is just Lakel's and co, right? And that's not taking anything away from the other players of the team because everyone has done their job.
Oh, wow.
But this is just the type of game in which Lakel's will be taking the spotlight. He is obviously shining right now. Both Enigma and Invokers have got excellent farms too. We talked about how clutch Shadow Demon's disruptions have been. So the entirety of MiTH Trust have been playing a top-notch game. This is world-class play, I think. This is the type of play that can get you a decent position at the International. How they're playing this game right now. I am very, very impressed so far.
Smoke is here for Arrow, trying to set something up, but of course Morphling is coming behind them. He has the newly picked up. Oh my god. One more right click, but of course he's ethereal, so he can't get it off. But here we have a team fight. Finally, the Omni Slash is being used to full effect, taking out the Enigma right away. Not the greatest advice from MiTH Trust. Lakel's just needs to get out of dodge, and he does that again. They only lose 2, not the worst thing in the world, and of course they did pick up the Bat Rider eventually.
2 for 1, Brewmaster ult is used. Lakel's gets to farm another 3 minutes freely. It's okay.
Panda's getting pretty close to Aghanim Scepter now, and that's obviously huge. For
It is just go time for Arrow. This is not enough, and it's not that they're playing it poorly, but they're really far behind. Just look at the goal graph. Seriously, just try to track. This is what happens when nothing happens in the game. This is just raw farm. This is the type of gold advantage we generally see teams gain when they take the big team fights.
He's almost going to get the kill. Living Armor's used. Sunstrike is not going to hit the right target. Lakel's still on the run. Has his waveform up in 2 seconds, but no mana to speak of. His Lincoln Sphere is up in 1 second. It's popped right afterwards. Crazy. Nice deafening blast. Now you're seeing some more pressure coming from MiTH Trust, and I believe Arrow's going to have to fall back. As we see the... I'm pretty sure Bat Rider's had this force staff for a while. He was working on it for quite a while.
He actually got it very recently. Surprisingly enough, it's a 26-minute game, but
he
just
had
haven't
the
felt him
components for so long. He just couldn't quite finish it till now, I guess.
Yeah. Haven't really felt him for a while in this game, and it's just MiTH Trust playing a very solid, safe game. They're not taking any sort of sick risks. They're playing very textbook, farm-oriented teamfight lineup. Arrow have, in my book, not played aggressively enough, but at the same time, when they tried, they got shut down. But they have to keep trying, because it's what they've picked for.
Right.
They have the Axe on Brewmaster now. Every time that split is up, go team fight, try to find it.
Ethereal Blade, kaboom!
Oh my god.
He didn't even do it in the right combination, but it doesn't even matter. There's so much damage coming out from Morphling. And if you can't get any of your spells off with or as Juggernaut, then the hero is just useless. I feel like they haven't even taken full effect of... We've seen one good Omni Slash getting the Enigma kill, but his healing ward, I feel like it's never been out. I know it's been out in team fights, but like, as far as pushing, they haven't really done much pushing whatsoever, other than that top lane at the beginning of the game.
Look at the level chart.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Wow.
Holy shit. How often do you see one hero being 5 levels ahead of the next one in the chart?
You know what I think of when Morphling gets this high level, what a good hero should be against? I know that you're going to know the answer to this. We saw this not too long ago. But
Elder Titan.
Elder Titan, absolutely. It's something I never thought about because one of the reasons Morphling is so tanky is not just because of his skill base and his mobility, which is a huge part of it. He's just going to blow up the Enchantress and replicate out. But his agility gain is insane, as we all know. And of course, that translates directly into armor. And Elder Titan is, well, since it's base armor, technically speaking,
yeah,
get rid of every single
Elder Titan removes. If Elder Titan was here right now, Morphling would have 3 armor instead of 28, instead of 31. So now 0, but there was a little bit of an armor aura before. Now, anyway, it's looking very good for MiTH Trust. They killed the Enchantress. They're going to take a free Roshan. Maybe Lance tries to go for something cheeky here. No, he does not. Arrow are just out of options, out of ideas, getting completely out-farmed everywhere.
It sounds kind of weird. I feel like Juggernaut needs to get a Blink Dagger this game. He is not finding himself in good positions at all. He can just stay in the back, because right now he's staying in front, and that's causing him to die every single time. If he has a Blink Dagger, he can initiate, do really well. I think it'll fare a little bit better for them, but then again, they might be too far behind at this point. Is Boba sticking his head in the room yet again?
He gave me the creepy stare. He doesn't realize how well MiTH Trust are doing, then he would probably be watching the game instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a phenomenal performance by them overall, to be honest. They're going to be rotating to the top tier 2. Arrow have to try to fight this, even though they can't. I've said this on many previous broadcasts. The worst position you can be in a game is that you have to fight, but you really don't want to.
Right.
And that is the storyline of the game.
I was
It's
talking
kind of been
about
the storyline in the
Juggernaut.
last 10 minutes, to be honest.
Yeah. I was talking about Juggernaut getting the blink dagger because their initiation is just kind of lackluster. Batrider, of course, has one. Instead, Treant gets one, which I think is pretty good overall. If you can get it off. Because, again, a hero like that in this stage of the game when they're behind is just, he's basically just for his ultimate. As Enchantress, another E-Blade to the face, and goodbye! Lakelz is going to get initiated upon, but he has Replicate over and over again. Spike Carapace being used to full effect for the Nyx Assassin, going to use Vendetta to get away. And this is just an assassination party for Lakelz.
Yeah, and he's going bottom meanwhile now, so he just split pushes. He forces all the heroes top, now he forces them to TP down. Deals some decent damage to the tier 3, not too much though, and he's against a Treant, so he can just heal it up again, but still. Every time he has his shotgun up and sees just some sort of opening, there's a free kill available on Arrow. It doesn't have to be the Enchantress, he can one-shot the Batrider at this point, he can one-shot the Treant, I think, who's even going to get Sunstruck right now.
And this Boots of Travel is
Clinical.
doing work. This was such a good pickup. I mean, he was already all over the map to begin with, but now with Boots of Travel, it's just, just disgusting. Of course, he finishes Manta. I would assume Scotty is next if it's even going to get to that point. At that point, I don't know. I don't know what Arrow can do. I mean, this is, we're talking about a 7-0 team in his qualifiers, and MiTH Trust is making them look like a bunch of scrubs.
We were not expecting. I was saying this game was going to be a close and really good game no matter what, but I was not expecting. If a team was going to crush the other one, I would have said Arrow, just on paper. But it is really, this is not even close to even though it's 13
Do you think it has
9.
anything to do, I know this is kind of a cheap way to say it, but do you think Arrow is just kind of confident they're going to get that #1 seed? All they need to do is win one game of the remaining. Maybe relax a little bit.
Perhaps.
And
I
MiTH
guess
Trust is playing really well, so nothing to take away from them.
you've got a good point when you say that Arrow are in a pretty comfortable position. They cannot get anything less than a tie for second place. That's the absolute worst thing that can happen to them at this point. But still, you want to secure that first place and make a statement. You just remove any sort of risk of having to play a tiebreaker for top 2, because top 2 is very important. Whether you're second or first doesn't matter at all in this format, but you want to definitely be second.
And ult used, seeing the Agnum Scepter come into effect. Shadow Demon is just stuck there, resigned to use his urn, and will die. But of course, Morphling just pushing top lane. And what can they do with this split push? He's just going to blow up Enchantress again. That's a free kill literally every single time. Johnny's going to jump in with a nice Treant ult, but Morphling is gone yet again. This time he's mid lane. So the pressure applied more. Nyx Assassin's dead, so they save the top racks. What about bottom? This tower's taking still more pressure.
His Arrow heroes are just running from one lane to the other. They can't get the team fight they want. They're actually getting some decent kills here, but if this was an even game, they would have defended the base there, but it's just way too late right now. Lakelz is out of this world on farm. Both Invoker and Enigma have great items too. The BKB on Enigma and 4k gold. Invoker has 4 staff travels, the Necro 3 and 3k gold.
I'm surprised. Okay, once this Midnight Pulse is up, I expect them to fully push this through.
Yeah, I
Just
think
put
they
a
could.
huge ass Midnight Pulse there. Black Pulse should follow very shortly.
Lakelz is ready to shotgun again.
Yeah, and Lakelz, this is disgusting display.
Might be target acquired here on the Batrider. You get some vision here.
What do you think about the Diffusal Blade pickup on Juggernaut this game?
It's a way to deal with the Morphling so that they can remove the Ethereal and hit him with the Omni Slash.
Okay.
I was wondering if he was going for that when I saw the Blade of Alacrity, but I was thinking he'd probably go for the very standard Manta build, which I didn't want to make a big deal out of it because I think at this point whatever Lance gets isn't good enough. Doesn't matter. He cannot pull this back, and it's strictly hero composition that just disallows Arrow from having a chance at this point in this game. So
Of course, Aegis
we're gonna
is
get
still-
to
oh
enjoy
my God.
Lakelz going to town here
Just the
for
right click.
the next few minutes, but I am.
Oh my God.
He's just
sick.
schooling these guys.
He really
It's
is.
like it's not even funny
He's
anymore.
making it look so easy. He's going to get this rack, no problem. Initiation there from Nyx. Nice impale. And again, the right clicks will suffice for Lakelz. And he could just replicate. I'm sorry, his replicate's actually down.
This is
but-
reminding. This is like TI1 all over again. Lakelz Morphling. It's so similar
Wow. This
to
is-
back then,
this
3 years
display-
ago.
This display.
Boys still got it.
That is, I'm going to put that up there with the Doom from Arrow. These two
Yes.
performances so far for us are the best two that we've seen in this tournament, in this qualifier. Very well played. They're just going to call GG's. And this puts Arrow Gaming, they're still on top of course, but now they're 7-1. And
Who's their last opponent?
yeah, let me move my tissues.
Yeah. Thank you for moving
The
it.
desk is littered with
Arrow have Scythe to play as their last one. So that is not a guaranteed win for Arrow. If they do lose that, they...
Scythe lost again, though, right?
Yeah, they
might
lost
be
to... Yeah, Scythe are in
They-
trouble. They
that-
lost to MVP Phoenix,
That's
I believe.
the shock
and
of the tournament.
and I
right
think
now.
that was actually not even that close of a game. From what I heard, Phoenix were making quick work of them. I could be wrong. I haven't completely confirmed that MVP won that game, but I'm pretty sure they did. And regardless, even if Scythe won that game, going in against Arrow is still going to be very difficult. If Arrow wins that game, they're guaranteed first place. Then they're going to end on 8-1. Right now, they're 7-1. MiTH Trust now with this win, they are 5-3, correct? Or is it even better? Yes, 5-3.
Okay.
So probably going to be, because of Mineski's loss, Mineski could also be 5-3. They could be 4-4 as well too, though.
How do the tiebreakers work exactly? Like the head-to-head matchups that they originally had, do those matter at all?
Don't matter at all. When there's a tiebreaker, they just start playing over.
Okay. Well,
if
for one,
MiTH Trust don't get through directly, they're my favorite to take the tiebreaker now at this point.
yeah, that's what I was
They
going
were
to say.
so good in this game.
I'm rooting for them because not a lot of people put them in the top 2 discussion. I think it's legitimate at this
Yes.
point. They're looking really good. Arrow Gaming, it just seemed like an off game for them. They just couldn't get the mid-game dominance that they were looking for. But again, I don't want to talk about what Arrow could have done, the reasoning for their play not being as stellar as we've seen this qualifier, but because I want to give MiTH Trust all the credit in this game. Lakel has played out of his mind. I mean, typically speaking, we talk about the support so much, but it was Lakel's for the most part this game.
He was insane in the Wraith King game too. That was an easier game for him,
Yes,
though.
it was.
I'm more impressed by this one because of how big of a role he played for the team. When you look at this end scoreboard, it's not like the scores look like Lakel's did all the work, which he definitely didn't. But in comparison to the Wraith King game, in this game he was absolutely crucial to the victory.
Right.
Sure, he was in the other one, but there were other heroes carrying a hell of a lot in that game too. And this one, again, this is the second consecutive game for Lakel's was above 800 GPM, which was, as a matter of fact, in the compendium for TI4, one of the questions asked was if there was going to be someone above 800 GPM in the qualifier, I believe.
I thought it was more.
That was one of the things you
I
needed
thought it
to
was
bet
what's
on.
the highest GPM going to be, and they give you a range maybe.
I believe the highest one you could set was above 800. I seem to recall something with 800.
Okay.
Lakel's had that 2 games in a row. His Wraith King had 853. His Morphling had
This
811.
guy's ridiculous.
Do not let this guy free farm unless you know how to deal with it. That's kind of.
I'm
the
glad that
conclusion
we,
of the game.
because these schedules are pretty random as far as who's assigned to what. I'm really glad that we got to cover MiTH Trust because I think they have a good chance to take this pretty deep. I think they can contend for number. I mean, we just watched them dominate the number 1 seed.
Yeah, this game wasn't
the playoffs
close.
started now. So
This wasn't even close.
I fully expect Morphling to get banned next time these two go head to head. But that is it for this game. Next, coming up on this stream, we have Mott and Basekip taking Mineski and RRQ. So
Which
that should
could be a really important game looking at the standings, actually. So you guys make sure you stay tuned for that one. RRQ, with the last updated standings we saw, were 2-3. I believe they've played another game. I'm not completely sure what their score is. And their opponents were, what was that again? It was... Was the MVP you said? Or... No, Mineski, who are also definitely in the run for a playoff spot.
Right.
This is going to get very, very exciting towards the end of today. I believe we have 3 rounds to go, yes, before potential tiebreakers.
3 or
so
2?
make sure you guys stay tuned. This is going to be very, very exciting. And of course, this was the SEA qualifiers brought to you by
Presented
Monster
by
Energy.
Monster. How dare you screw that up, Syndrome?
You can say brought to you by.
Unbelievable.
That's kind of the same thing. Presented, brought to you.
Whatever. But really, what's getting us through these tournaments?
We've been
These-
drinking a lot of this stuff,
these
and it's really good.
Kleenex.
So make sure you guys check that out. If you haven't tried Monster Energy before, they have a lot of different products that we've really enjoyed.
God.
Make sure you get yourself some tissues as well, in case you get very excited about your monster. You might need them.
I'm probably gonna have to take.
Shannon,
one
go
now.
off camera. You're disgusting.
I like watching me. No, don't do it. No, Cinder, I sound like a dying whale.
Okay, I'm just gonna clip
I
this for
sound like a
fun.
dying hyena. A hyena.